Welcome. I'm State Senator Wayne Schmidt, and thank you for joining me in another edition of Capitol Report. Today we're talking about a very tragic situation that occurred nearly a year and a half ago, one that wrecked the lives of two Traverse City families when a tragedy occurred just north of Grand Rapids. Two men, John Pomeroy and Billy Kochis, were driving back to Traverse City when a drug driver hit them from behind and killed them instantly. It's something that just was terrible to the Traverse City community, something that demanded justice. Unfortunately, a loophole in the law denied the justice that those families deserved back in Traverse City. Today, I'm joined by those two widows, Mary Jo Pomeroy and Shannon Kochis. If you'd like to tell just a little bit about the story, about your husbands, what happened, and let the viewers know how we might be able to change this in the future.
They were on their way down to Grand Rapids for business. They were stopped on 131. The gentleman who ran into them was going over 83 miles per hour, never braked before he hit John's car. The impact sent John and Billy over 100 yards, hitting several cars and coming to rest after a guardrail. Both boys, we were told, were killed instantly. When Patrick Dorr was asked to submit to a blood test, he refused.
And that was the driver that killed your husbands.
Yes. Many witnesses, I think there was 4 that said that they observed him, he passed them, driving erratically, speeding, and he never applied his brakes.
Billy, a little bit.
Yeah, same thing with MJ is, he denied the blood test that changed our lives forever. He had the right, to not have the blood test, which was all the proof we needed because he was on cocaine. Later, we got urine results, and we were not able to use those in the court. So we were never, he was never charged with the right charges. So there was no justice for us.
And your families, your children, I know they're here today with us. We're going to take testimony in committee and just...
our hearts are broken. Billy was 29, John was 49. Both wonderful fathers, loving, attentive, compassionate, decent, human, law-abiding gentlemen. Love their families.
Which is all the more reason why we need to correct this system.
Yeah.
Yep.
John Collins, you're the former Director of Forensic Science for Michigan State Police. Tell us a little bit about Senate Bill 153 and how you think that it could correct this and bring justice for not only these families, but hopefully in the future if this tragedy were to occur again.
Sure, and I'm in this too personally because Billy was my cousin, and what you have is a situation, one single car accident that destroys lives. And these families want to know why this accident happened. Well, we have at our disposal scientific evidence that can be used to answer these questions, not only to comfort the family, but also to make sure that our criminal justice system, in the wake of the accident, can function more competently in terms of understanding what happened and bringing charges on the driver. And what the Michigan Vehicle Code has is a couple pretty significant loopholes. One is that urine as a body fluid is not treated with the same scientific respect that blood is, and both blood and urine are critically important. And then second, the state of Michigan doesn't have a provision like other states do, where if a driver is believed to have caused death or injury on the roadway, that there is implied consent to chemical tests. And Michigan doesn't have that, but other states do, and so these are the loopholes we want to close.
What state in particular would you use as a model Beth, especially maybe here in the Great Lakes area?
Well, Indiana is one example. Indiana has fairly robust laws. There's other states like Alaska. New Mexico has some interesting laws as well, Wisconsin. So this isn't a bill that's reinventing the wheel in any way. We're actually trying to modernize the Michigan Vehicle Code because we have so much better capabilities in testing scientific evidence than we did before, and to not be able to get it in an accident like this, which, I mean, it destroyed people's lives, changed lives forever, to not have access to that evidence because of a loophole is just not acceptable, so we think we can fix it.
And you view this, you know, with your background, that this would provide justice. people's rights wouldn't be denied with this, that rather it just gets to the heart of the matter of whether or not, if someone is involved in a fatality, as unfortunately this case, or severe bodily injury. We've seen tragic accidents where people survive, but I mean impaired for life.
Right, exactly.
Really, this just makes sure that the facts are presented, that justice can be done for those families, and no negative impact that we've seen in those other states that have similar laws.
That's right, and you bring up a good point, because there's two issues at hand real quickly, and that is the admissibility of evidence, which is what we're talking about here. That's just having an opportunity to consider the evidence. Once it comes into the criminal justice system, then there's an adversarial justice system that evaluates the weight of that evidence. So there's nothing about this law that prevents the rights of defendants to challenge the evidence. By all means, we do that in our country, and that's critically important. But we're talking about the admissibility of evidence, having access to blood and urine test results once we know what they are, and then in the event that somebody is believed to have caused a fatal or an injurious accident, that by virtue of them deciding to get on a Michigan roadway, that in the event, God forbid, that they cause a serious accident, then they've implied their consent to chemical tests.
So we're making sure this isn't about fender benders, this isn't about running into a shopping cart. This is, again, if someone, and we see the tragedy that occurred a year and a half ago north of Grand Rapids, that situation, we can have justice, we can make sure that people can both have a good defense and a good justice system, and really serve what's, I think, in the public's best interest. Because driving is not a right, it's a privilege.
It's a privilege. And you know, Senator, sometimes this scientific evidence benefits the defendant. It works both ways, but we have to be able to use it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add? I know that when we take testimony, you know, thank you for being on today. I can't even imagine the heartache. But is there anything that you would want viewers to know, that why you're, you know, so supportive of this law? What made you, you know, get up in the morning and say, hey, we need to change this? And again, I appreciate you coming to me with this.
Shannon and I live with grief every day. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But living with grief and also living with the frustration of the injustice that was done to John and Billy and everybody else who loved him, it's sometimes inconceivable. If John and Billy, I know in my heart, they'd be behind this bill 150%, because they were loving, wonderful human beings, and they wouldn't want any other family to have to live this life.
And it's not just us, you know, it's much bigger than that. It's helping others that, you know, and a lot of accidents has happened and they've never been able to reach this evidence. Right. So there's a lot of things that have already happened that people don't know that they've had this injustice. So this will help close those holes.
That's good. Help other families
Yep.
that unfortunately have shared the same tragedy find a little bit better, and there are very few, if any, silver linings in this, but I think this one could be one small way, and to remember Billy, to remember John in this way would be great. Anything you wanted to add to this?
Just that, you know, it's been a privilege for me to be able to work with, you know, Shannon and Mary Jo on this, and you know, it's a fairly straightforward bill. It's not about encroaching on rights. It's about getting information in these kinds of accidents, because they are just so serious and they destroy so many people's lives. It's worth the effort.
And just add, because for the viewers that are interested in this, you can go to a Facebook page.
Yes, Billy's Law. You can go to Billy's Law and you can like it, and you'll get updates on everything, and hopefully we'll, you know, 153 we'll go all the way with it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. I thank you for being on the show, and look forward to your testimony in Senator Rick Jones' Judiciary Committee. We're gonna have a good testimony there. And thank you for joining us for another issue of Capitol Report. If you have questions about this law or any other proposed legislation, please feel free to call us at our office or email us. Thank you again for joining us. Bye-bye.